What's up? We are here with Luke Thompson from Reed Pop. This is really, really cool. I've been looking forward to this conversation. Luke, how are you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing good, bud. I've got my coffee. It's a beautiful Sunday morning in Texas, so no complaints here.
That's awesome. What's up, Maya?
Hey, hey.
All right, Luke. So, people might not have heard of Reed Pop before, but I'm very sure that they know about what you do. Can you give us a little background on you and the powerhouse that is Reed Pop?
Sure. A little background on me, real quick. I have a extensive background in traditional media advertising, business development, and sales, and then used to work for a major communications company for large music festivals and big outdoor events. Um, Wound up working for Rocket League for a couple of years, had some contacts there, and did a lot of behind the scenes stuff for 10 years for gaming and made some connections there. And that actually kind of launched my career. Got to work with an incredible game, build the RLCS, and help launch a current and active global pro league that's still going on today. For Repop, what a lot of people don't know is Repop is one of the largest event producers of pop culture and gaming events on the planet, and primarily in North America. So what I focus on are all of the PAX events. So if you've heard of PAX and PAX Gaming, those are actually owned and powered by Repop, and that's the company I work for. But they also have massive pop culture events like New York Comic Con, and 47 other global events. So we stay really, really busy. I primarily focus on North America, and then I'm kind of a glorified consultant for the global teams as well.
Wow. I mean,
That's amazing.
the PAX events are amazing. New York Comic Con, I know, is one just a massive event, but also the logistical nightmare of doing a big event in New York too is a huge thing. So but you kind of handle the esports side of the PAX events. Is that correct?
Correct. At every PAX, we have a centralized stage for esports called Pax Arena. And so there we have a lot of game developers that come in and are producing their own competitions. And then we have a lot of our own staple stuff that we have for the fans as well that we're launching. So the stage is kind of this hybrid pro, amateur, casual, competitive kind of event stage where you see a mixed bag of just about everything. For us personally, though, our motto for Pax Arena is the home of amateur esports. So coming off of Rocket League and building a global pro league, my focus now is really doing high production value and massive events for amateurs, because I feel like it's kind of a little bit of a void and a crucial step in the whole ecosystem of esports. And with our massive events, we have 60,000 to 200,000 plus fans all under the same roof, launching these massive amateur opens where you see people who maybe have only played the game for a few months, all the way up to I've seen actually semi-pros and pros crash some of these tournaments as well. So it's just really an awesome, beautiful 360 celebration of everything competitive and what you could label as esports.
The PAX Arena is pretty special. I remember when I brought Geico Gaming there, and we were a big advocate of the amateur scene and what you guys were doing. It really did feel and does still feel like an opportunity for people to just walk in and get an esports experience. And I think that at a PAX, that experience is super, super valuable because you might not be aware. You might be a more casual gamer and see an esports event for the first time live in an arena like that. And those are the ways to make fans.
Absolutely. And that's what got me hooked. I'm from Austin, Texas. I can remember 8 years ago at the South by Southwest Gaming Expo. I think back then it was called like the Screen Burn Arcade or something crazy like that. I remember seeing a League of Legends match with pro teams. And I had never witnessed live esports before. And that's right when esports was really kind of coming out of the basement of gaming and really starting to blow up with live streaming and a lot of big sponsors and big viewership. And there was a lot of excitement. And I was hooked. And I'd like to think that PAX kind of offers the same opportunity for all those fans, kind of like what you were saying. I've done a $5,000 Mario Kart tournament before, where, I mean, anybody could walk up and take a shot at that, even if you hadn't played the new Mario Kart. If you were, a slayer in the dorms back in college on the original N64, this tournament was for you. Or if you were a newer fan. And then we have very hardcore esports as well, doing like an almost pro 10K Apex Legends tournament where there's 5 or 6 semi-pro teams in there, and every qualifier is completely stacked. So, yeah, it's really exciting, man, getting to work across all those different spectrums all the time.
It's really important. You're talking about the stuff at the top. What do you think, or like, what can we do at the local level to try to mimic some of what you guys are doing at the pro level? So this is our first end of summer bash. This is the first thing that we've done here. So like, what do you think some of the things that you did well that allowed the PAX, arena, the PAX events, and the other things that you do grow from, a first year event into a, I got to assume you guys are working on year 10, 12, 15, something like that now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so when I don't have anything directly on my plate that I'm working on, I'm obviously having to put on the old visionary cap and look 5 or 10 years ahead and project and see what that looks like and what small steps are we making toward those bigger goals now, because you don't just get there, right? You have to definitely blaze a path, and you have to chip away at it every single day, and every event has to be moving in that direction. I've been really fortunate, working for Rocket League and working for Repop. I've had nice budgets to work with, and I'm dealing with brands that have a lot of clout. It's real easy for me to pick up the phone or send an email and actually get a response back. But when it comes to kind of scaling down or looking at things from where you guys are at, the number one thing I think that's consistent across any esports event that you're doing is it's all about the fans. Like from the word go to the very end. What's the process like? If you're a player getting in registration, do you even know this event exists? The gauntlet being run through of registration, actually qualifying, all the way to the viewer experience. Can they find this stream? Is this something I would watch for 4 hours? Looking at everything from the fans' perspective and making sure that you're doing everything to make it entertaining, educational, to make it competitive, adding in those little sprinkles and extra touches of production value. You have to be very obsessive with your work. When I'm in the shower, I'm visualizing all the things that I haven't thought of, or if I'm grocery shopping, I see a brand's label. I'm like, oh crap, that reminds me that we've got to talk to those guys about a sponsorship coming up. Like, I can't turn it off. I'm always obsessing and always looking at every little nut and bolt that I have in the equation to make sure that everything is giving the fans a great experience, whether they're a viewer or whether they're watching. And I think if you can nail that down, I think that's kind of your core. It's a lot easy to sell something to a sponsor or to get some budget when everybody's had a great time and you've got good numbers and there's good positive feedback. It's always easy to grow something when you're creating great fun experiences. People want to come back for more. They want to tell their friends about it, and it becomes a community. It becomes a scene. So the most crucial step for me is always fan first. It's always, always, always fan first. And then everything else kind of spirals out from that. And with the pandemic and COVID, it's really challenging for everybody. Even for me, I've had to go from hybrid, live events to completely cloud-based online broadcast, and that's not an easy transition to make. We're doing it pretty well, and there's a lot of other entities out there that have made some strides on that. Just some general advice, though. With what's going on right now, my advice to the smaller teams is start looking local and regional. There's a lot of companies, like if you needed sponsors or if you're needing budget or if you're just needing support, there are so many companies out there who have had their whole business models completely rattled or struggling. All the little leagues in town, all of the sports teams that have sponsorships and everything that's happening in your area, there are companies that are wanting to reach younger demographics. who are wanting something to engage and have numbers and analytics and stuff to point to. And I think esports and getting that involved at the collegiate and the high school level is prime opportunity for those kinds of people. I also don't think you have to do a broadcast. Some people don't have the budget to do a broadcast. They don't know how. They'd have to hire this really expensive company or these really expensive talent to kind of come in and do it for them. You don't always have to do a broadcast. You can always reach out to some influencers or some community peeps, let them run it for you, or just do an online only tournament that doesn't have any kind of filming, production, or footage to it. For me, when I get into a bind, I can send out one tweet and I'll have 100 people willing to be a caster or a host for free. People are very hungry for it, especially if you've got some good teams or a really hot game that they can add sizzle reels to or build a portfolio out of. Those guys don't always cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. Probably the biggest thing I think for the smaller scenes is collaborations. And I think this is something that actually applies to like my industry and my level as well. Most of the TOs at my level, we keep our cards close to our chest. We don't want people knowing what we're working on. I wish there was more collaboration across the board. I think the scene needs it, wants it, and especially for the smaller entities that have smaller pools of resources, you can all come together and create an incredible network and create something really big as a team, rather than trying to move that needle yourself. And I think the collegiate space is starting to do that. I think those dots are definitely starting to connect. And I think nice groups of universities are starting to work together. But even on the production side, it would be great to see, 10 universities pull their budgets together and their resources together and put on a massive open that any university's, invited to. But I think I'm starting to ramble a bit. I could talk about this for hours.
No, dude, it's amazing. I think that this is one, I was just over here like taking notes, all the things that you said.
This is what we should do.
Yeah, this is our world, and a lot of the world that a lot of us are in a place where we're starting scenes, whether it's a high school scene, a collegiate scene, like we just heard from the people before, or us bringing the Washington Justice, Wizards District Gaming, all of our TOs together with Game Jam as a local DMV scene. Like we're trying to do everything that you're saying. So
good job.
We're pointing ourselves in the right direction. But hey, just to wrap up, just because we gotta move on. I don't want to take too much of your time. What's just kind of like if you lead something, what's one thing that we can leave people with?
I would say be bold. I think people play it too safe, right? They want to get the same teams, the same talent, the same format, the same graphics package, and they just want to play it safe. They just want to have it stay on the rails and be successful. And I think with an emerging industry, we all need to be bolder. We need to have more fun, be a little more creative, do all the cool stuff you wish we would all had when we were younger. Like that's my mantra. I want to create things that I wish I would have had when I was a teenager. And I think if people aim bigger and go bolder, that we're all going to raise the bar in the industry and everybody wins.
That's wise words. Be bold, go out there and do your thing, whether it's being a player, tournament organizing, event organizing, all these different things. There's so many great opportunities. This was a wonderful opportunity to talk with you, Luke. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We're going to head into our commercial break. Lots of love to our sponsors. Thank you so much. Here's a quick word from our sponsors. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.